One of the most common things I hear from photographers is, I don't want to feel pushy when I talk about prints. Maybe you've been there. You hand over a digital gallery and you know your clients would love seeing their images on their walls, but you freeze. You don't want to come across as salesy. You don't want them to think you're just trying to squeeze more money out of them, so you stay quiet. And in the process, your clients miss out on the joy of seeing their memories in print, and you miss out on income that could make your business sustainable. But here's the truth. Selling prints doesn't have to feel sleazy. In fact, it can feel like a natural, caring part of serving your clients when you approach it the right way. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to sell prints without feeling salesy, so both you and your clients walk away happy. If you've ever delivered a gallery of digital files and then quietly wondered if your clients ever did anything with them, you're not alone. I can't tell you how many times I've heard photographers say, I sent the link, they loved the images, but I never saw them print a single one. And deep down, it feels like something is missing because you know those photos deserve more than to sit in a folder. You know they're meant to be lived with, not just scrolled through. But here's the thing. Prints aren't just an add-on. They're not just a bonus product. They are the heart of photography. And if you can start to see them that way, selling prints stops feeling like pushing and starts feeling like serving. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I photographed a family with 3 kids, all under the age of 10. It was a beautiful fall session. The light was golden, the kids were wild and full of energy, and the parents just wanted something to remember this season of chaos. I delivered the gallery and they loved it, but what happened after stuck with me. A few months later, I was invited back to their home for another shoot, and there, hanging in their hallway, were 3 giant framed prints of those images. The kids were pointing at them, laughing, telling me which one was their favorite. The parents told me they stopped in front of those prints every day, especially when mornings were stressful or life felt overwhelming. Those prints weren't just decoration, they were anchors, reminders of joy in the middle of the chaos. That's the power of print. Now compare that to digital-only delivery. You send a gallery link, clients download the files, maybe they post a few on Instagram, and then what? The images sit in a downloads folder or a cloud account, forgotten until maybe a hard drive crashes or a password is lost. It's not that clients don't love their photos, it's that digital life is cluttered and fleeting, out of sight, out of mind. The photos they were thrilled about in the moment slip into digital oblivion. And that's not what any of us want when we create art. There's also a psychological difference between digital and print. Studies have shown that when people interact with physical objects, their brains process them differently. A photo you hold in your hands or see on your wall carries weight, permanence, and emotional depth. It becomes part of your environment. It shapes your daily experience. Think about it. When you walk into a home, the photos on the wall tell you who lives there, what they value, what stories they want remembered. You don't get that from a phone gallery. Prints turn photography into storytelling, into identity, into memory you can actually live with. And let's talk about legacy. Because if you think about your own family history, how do you know what your grandparents or great-grandparents looked like? How do you remember the faces and places that shaped your family? Through prints, not through hard drives, not through cloud accounts, through physical photographs that survived time. Generations from now, no one is going to find a Facebook album and feel connected. They're going to hold a framed print, flip through an album, and see their story preserved. As photographers, we're not just making images, we're making history. And prints are the way that history survives. This is why believing in prints yourself is so important. Because if you see them as optional, as just a sales add-on, your clients will feel that energy. They'll pick up on your hesitation. They'll think, oh, this is just something she's trying to upsell. But if you truly believe prints matter, if you have them in your own home, if you light up when you talk about them, if you see them as the final chapter of the photography experience, your clients will feel that too. Selling won't feel like selling, it will feel like guiding. You're helping them do something they actually want, but might not know how to do on their own. Here's the business side of it too. Prints elevate your professionalism. When clients see their images displayed beautifully, it reinforces your value as an artist. It says, these photos aren't disposable, they're worth showcasing. And when clients hang your work in their homes, it's not just meaningful to them, it's marketing for you. Every guest who walks in sees your images and asks, who took that? Prints create word of mouth in a way that digitals never will. A file buried on a hard drive won't bring you referrals. A canvas on the wall might. And I'll be honest, prints also create financial sustainability. Too many photographers undercharge for sessions, thinking they'll make it up in volume. But volume without products is exhausting. You're working harder, booking more, editing endlessly, and still struggling to hit your income goals. Offering prints creates another stream of revenue, one that aligns with what clients truly want. They don't just want files, they want memories they can see, touch, gift, and pass down. When you build prints into your process, you're not pushing, you're completing the service, you're making sure the photos don't die on a hard drive. Now, I want to pause and address the elephant in the room. A lot of photographers are scared of selling prints because they've never been sold to in a way that felt good. Maybe you've been to a pushy IPS sales session where you felt manipulated. Maybe you've been told to maximize profit in a way that felt gross. So now, when you think about offering prints, you associate it with that icky feeling, and that's why we need to flip the script. Selling prints doesn't have to be manipulative. It doesn't have to be pressure-filled. It can be honest, caring, and aligned with what your clients already value if you approach it with the right mindset. Think of it this way. When you don't offer prints, you're actually doing your clients a disservice. Because most of them won't print on their own. They'll mean to. They'll tell themselves they'll get around to it. But life will happen. Weeks turn into months, months into years, and those images never make it to the wall. You have the ability to make sure their memories live in a way they can actually enjoy. That's not sales, that's service. So why do prints matter more than you think? Because they're not just a product. They're the completion of your art, the anchor of your clients' memories, the legacy that outlives us all, and the piece of your business that transforms you from just another photographer into someone who creates lasting impact. When you believe that deep in your bones, you'll never feel pushy talking about prints again. You'll feel like you're offering something essential, and that mindset is the foundation for selling without the sleaze. Now that we've grounded ourselves in why prints matter, let's talk about how to bring them into your client experience without feeling awkward, forced, or pushy. This is where so many photographers get stuck. They believe in prints, they want their clients to have them, but they don't know how to bring it up without sounding like a salesperson. The truth is, the key to selling prints naturally is weaving them into your process from the very beginning. So by the time your client sees their photos, buying prints feels like the most natural next step. It starts with how you position yourself before the session even happens. If your website, your portfolio, and your marketing only talk about digital galleries, that's what your clients are going to expect. So from the very first touch point, you want to frame photography as something that lives beyond the screen. Use the language of legacy and storytelling right on your site instead of just saying, you'll get 40 digital images. Talk about how your clients will have artwork for their home, memories to hang on their walls, and albums that can be passed down. That kind of language plants a seed long before price or packages are even discussed. Then, when a client inquires, you don't wait until the very end to bring up prints. You mention them early, casually, and as part of the experience. For example, in your first email response, you might say, every session comes with a set of beautifully edited digital files, and most families choose to create wall art or albums with their images as well. I'll guide you through that process so it's easy and fun. Notice what's happening there. You're not selling, you're normalizing. You're presenting prints as a standard part of working with you, not an afterthought. The pre-session phase is another key moment. When you send your prep guide or have your consultation call, bring up how the photos will be enjoyed after the session. Ask questions like, do you already have a wall in your home where you'd love to see these images? Or would you like me to show you some album options when we meet? By asking, you're making your client imagine the photos in physical form, and that visualization makes them far more likely to follow through later. During the session itself, you can even drop subtle reminders. For example, while photographing a family, you might say, "This would make such a beautiful canvas for your living room," or "This moment would look incredible in a framed series." You're not pressuring, you're simply planting ideas. Clients love when you guide them because often they don't know what to do with their photos beyond posting them online. After the session, the reveal is where it all comes together. If you're doing in-person sales, IPS, this is the moment you show their images and present print options. But even if you're delivering through an online gallery, you can structure it so prints are front and center. Choose a gallery platform that integrates print ordering. Pre-design an album or a wall layout to show them how their photos could look. People respond to visuals, and when they can actually see their images mocked up on a wall or in an album, they're far more likely to buy. The way you talk about prints at this stage matters too. Avoid language that makes it feel optional or like an upsell. Instead of, "If you're interested, you can order prints," say, "Here are some of the most popular ways families choose to enjoy their images." Framing it as popular choices makes it sound normal, expected, and client-centered rather than sales-driven. Another strategy is to tie prints back to the emotional moments you've already captured. For example, "This shot of your kids laughing together would be perfect as a framed piece in their playroom. Every time you see it, you'll be reminded of this season." Or, "This intimate maternity portrait would be stunning in an album that you can show your baby someday." By connecting the product to the emotion, you're showing clients the why, not just the what. You can also make prints part of your packages from the start, so they're baked in rather than bolted on. For example, instead of offering only digitals and then trying to sell prints later, include a print credit or a small album in every package. That way, clients are already invested in prints, and the conversation shifts from if they'll order to how they'll use their credit. This is one of the most effective ways to normalize prints because it eliminates the awkwardness of bringing them up at the end. And here's a mindset shift. Selling prints doesn't mean you have to be pushy. It means you have to be proactive. If you stay quiet, your clients will default to digital. Not because they don't want prints, but because they're busy, distracted, and overwhelmed. They need you to guide them. Think of it like a restaurant. When you sit down, the server doesn't apologize for offering you the menu. They don't whisper, "If you want, you can order food." They confidently hand you the menu and let you choose. Prints are the same. Your job is to show them the menu, to make the options clear, simple, and inviting. The workflow doesn't end when prints are ordered either. Follow-up is key. Share the excitement with your clients. When their order arrives, send a note saying how beautiful their choices look and how happy you are they'll get to enjoy them every day. That personal touch reinforces the value of prints and strengthens the relationship. When you weave prints into your process at every stage, inquiry, prep, session, reveal, delivery, follow-up, they stop feeling like a pushy add-on. They become the natural conclusion of the experience you're creating. Clients won't see you as someone trying to sell them something. They'll see you as someone guiding them to preserve their memories in the best possible way. And that's the magic. Selling prints naturally isn't about closing a deal. It's about creating an experience where prints are the obvious, joyful outcome of the story you've captured. At this point, you understand why prints matter and you know how to weave them into your workflow without feeling awkward. But here's the next piece of the puzzle. If you want selling prints to feel effortless instead of scary, you need systems and confidence to back you up. Because if every conversation about prints leaves you sweating, you'll avoid them, and then your clients miss out. But if you have a clear structure, tools, and mindset in place, print sales become a natural part of your business, one you can rely on consistently instead of hit or miss. The first step in building confidence around prints is to actually experience them yourself. Order samples, hang them in your own home, flip through albums you've designed. There's something powerful about physically holding what you're offering. You'll know what it feels like, what it looks like, and how it transforms a space. When you talk about prints with your clients, you're not describing something abstract. You're sharing something real you've experienced yourself. That authenticity shines through. And the bonus? Samples are some of your best sales tools. When clients see a gorgeous canvas or a thick, luxurious album in person, they get it immediately. The second step is to create a system that makes the process smooth for both you and your clients. If print ordering feels clunky or overwhelming, you won't want to bring it up and clients won't want to buy. So take time to set up a gallery platform that integrates print options seamlessly. Preload your favorite labs, pre-design a few layouts, and test the system yourself so you know it's intuitive. The easier it is for a client to click and order, the less it feels like a sales pitch, and the more it feels like a natural next step. Having structure also means setting clear expectations. If you're offering in-person sales, decide ahead of time how you'll present options. Maybe you show a slideshow of images, then walk through albums and wall art. If you're offering online sales, maybe you send a follow-up email that highlights the most popular products and reminds clients of their print credit. The key is consistency. If you wing it every time, you'll second guess yourself. But if you have a repeatable system, you'll move through it with ease, and clients will feel that confidence. Another part of building a sustainable system is pricing. And here's where many photographers trip up. They either underprice prints because they're afraid no one will buy, or they overprice without understanding their own costs. The sweet spot is pricing that reflects both your costs and the value of the product. That means factoring in the lab price, your time to design and order, and the experience you're providing, and then marking it up to a point that feels profitable and sustainable. When you know your numbers, you stop apologizing for them. You can say with confidence, this album is $500 because you know exactly what went into it and what it gives back to your client. But confidence isn't just about numbers, it's also about language. Having a few go-to phrases can make all the difference when talking about prints. Instead of saying, do you want to order anything, which puts the client on the defensive, you might say, most families love creating a wall piece for their living room. Would you like me to show you what that could look like with your images? That small shift changes the tone completely. It's not pressure, it's guidance. Mindset plays a huge role here too. Many photographers feel guilty charging for prints, as if they're asking too much. But think about it. You're not just handing over paper and ink. You're creating a custom piece of art that represents someone's most important memories. You're handling the design, the ordering, the quality control. You're saving your client time and ensuring they don't end up with a cheap, badly printed version from a big box store. That's valuable. And when you frame it that way in your own mind, it's much easier to talk about prints without hesitation. Sustainability also comes from consistency. If you only bring up prints occasionally or only when you feel like it, it will always feel awkward. But if every client, every time is introduced to prints as part of your process, it becomes normal for you and for them. Over time, it won't feel like selling. It'll feel like delivering your service fully. One of the most powerful tools you can add to your system is automation. That doesn't mean losing the personal touch. It means setting up smart reminders so you don't have to remember every step. For example, your gallery system might send an automated email 3 days after delivery saying, "Your gallery is ready for prints. Here are the most popular options." Or you might schedule a follow-up a month later, reminding clients that holidays are coming and prints make great gifts. Automation keeps the conversation alive without you feeling like you're nagging. Confidence also grows as you collect success stories. Every time a client gushes about their framed print, every time you see your work displayed in someone's home, write it down. Save those messages. Take photos of your products in client spaces with permission. Those reminders fuel your belief in what you're offering. And when a new client hesitates, you can say, "Many of my families tell me their kids love seeing themselves on the wall. It makes them feel special." That kind of real-life story sells better than any pitch. Finally, let's talk about long-term sustainability. Selling prints shouldn't feel like an afterthought or a one-time experiment. It should be built into the DNA of your business. That means planning seasonal promotions, like offering gift prints before the holidays, and creating collections that make sense for your clients. It means keeping your product offerings simple so clients don't feel overwhelmed, but updating them regularly so they stay fresh. It also means checking in with your own workflow every few months. Is this system smooth for me? Is it working for my clients? Where can I simplify? Here's the bottom line. Selling prints without feeling salesy isn't about tricks or pressure. It's about believing in their value, weaving them naturally into your process, and creating systems that make the experience smooth and joyful. When you do that, prints stop being a scary topic and start being a natural, celebrated part of your business. And if you want to practice building those scripts, refining your workflow, and getting feedback from photographers who are working on the same thing, Come join us inside the Savvy Shutterbug community. It's where we share strategies, swap ideas, and cheer each other on as we build businesses that don't just survive, but thrive. You don't have to figure out print sales alone. We're doing it together.